Hey, my name's Liv. I go to CU Boulder. I am a women's studies major on a public health track, and I've been working in the restaurant industry for 5 years. I worked at a restaurant called Cafe Costello and the Bellport restaurant in Long Island. At Cafe Costello, I was the only worker, so I was the cashier, the waitress, the busser, cleaned everything. And at the Bellport, I would typically only be working with like 3 other women or men. Everyone was older than me, typically in their 30s, and I was the youngest one there. The reason I actually left Cafe Costello was because my boss would call me stupid on the job. He would call me an idiot, and I was like the best worker. He lost customers because of like how they saw him interact with me. One time there was food in the back, and he literally like shoved it into my stomach, and he was like get this the fuck out of here. Like, what is this doing back here? Because he hated when we like ate during the meals. So he like grabs me by the back of my shirt and like drags me into the kitchen and screams in my face. And he's like, I don't know why you love pissing me off, but when I tell you to fucking throw something out, you fucking throw it out. And was like screaming and spitting in my face. And I knew that if I was a male, like in that instance, like I would have been able to give it right back. But like I was so intimidated in that moment that I wasn't able to say anything. And then after the shifts, like I would go over the situations in my head, and I would definitely be upset about them and think that it was like reflecting more on my personality and like the way that I interact with others. I think aside from that, I've definitely always been someone who like asserts what I want and like doesn't really settle for disrespect. But there's just something so nerve-wracking about someone, an older man in your face, screaming at you. You know that he's like incredibly stronger than you, and you just get nervous and you freeze up and you can't really do anything about it. But I think in both restaurants, it was definitely like we built a we are a family dynamic. So whenever I would get like preyed on by my male coworkers, it was kind of excusable, like, or at least I felt like I had to excuse it because I didn't want to like mess up the family dynamic. We were all like, they all call me like their little sister, their daughter and stuff, but they definitely contributed to like the sexualization of me in my workplace. All the members of the kitchen in both restaurants wound up being like in love with me just because I was like the newest like hot young worker, and like everyone else had been working there for years and was older. But they would make me whatever food I wanted, like do whatever I say, like do my dirty work if I couldn't do it. If I made a mistake in the kitchen, they would just like rip the ticket and like act like it wasn't me. So although like I was sexualized in a way that discriminated me, I also used it to my advantage, sometimes subconsciously. My female coworkers would tell me not to wear certain clothes because I was distracting the kitchen, or tell me like not to bend over and do typical things that if like a man did the same exact thing, it wouldn't have been a problem. I think that other women in the workplace can be like a catalyst to doing better, because we definitely did talk about it. I knew that they faced the same hardships, so it kind of took away it being personal for me. But they could also completely contribute to like the misogyny that exists. I do think that it is part of just the business industry, so there's not many improvements that can be made as a whole because no one teaches you who to hire or how to run your business. I just think with like more widespread awareness and like action of not letting older men take an advantage of getting away with yelling at younger girls or women in general. And I just think it's kind of, if you see something, say something, for people who work in the restaurant industry, like, or at least pull the person who's victimized in that situation aside and ask them how they're feeling, or like try and relate to their experience.